The Indiana Fever locker room was never the same the moment that leaked benching order hit the streets. Stephanie White didn't just bench Caitlin Clark. She followed a calculated script written to keep the most electric rookie in WNBA history chained to the sidelines, while the rest of the league laughed. This wasn't coaching. This was a paid hit job, and the documents prove it. That leaked benching order wasn't some random coaching note. It was a detailed blueprint with specific minute caps.
Yo, if you love real basketball stories, deep dives, and the drama behind the game, you're in the right place. But if you want to take it to the next level, hit that join button. Members get exclusive content, early access, and behind-the-scenes drops you won't see anywhere else. Plus, you're directly supporting the channel and helping us bring you even better content. So if you rock with Basketball Spilled, become a member today. Let's keep the game alive.
Play calling restrictions and isolation tactics aimed straight at Caitlin Clark from the very first preseason game. Stephanie White had it printed, highlighted, and distributed only to her most trusted assistants. The order spelled out exactly how many touches Clark could have in the first quarter, how she was to be pulled after any explosive sequence, and how the offense was to run through slower, less dynamic veterans even when Clark was carving up defenses. This document didn't come from thin air. It was the smoking gun that proved White was operating under external pressure and hidden financial incentives to suppress the rookie who threatened to change everything. Right from training camp, the instructions were crystal clear. Caitlin Clark would enter games with a hard cap of 12 minutes in the first half, no matter what the score was. If she hit 2 threes in a row or dished out a couple of highlight assists, the benching order kicked in automatically. White would signal the timeout, yank her, and immediately shift the ball to players who had been in the league for years but couldn't create their own shot. Teammates saw it happening in real time. Clark would be cooking the defense, the crowd would be on their feet, and then, boom, she was riding pine while the momentum died. The leaked pages even included handwritten notes in the margins reminding coaches to limit ISO opportunities for CC and prioritize ball movement through established vets. This wasn't game planning, this was containment. The money trail makes the whole thing even uglier. Stephanie White's contract extension came with bonus clauses that nobody in the public knew about until the documents surfaced. Those bonuses were tied to team chemistry metrics and veteran integration scores that magically improved every time Clark's minutes were slashed. League insiders confirmed that external stakeholders, nervous about Clark's rapid rise and the way she was overshadowing the entire WNBA brand, funneled incentives straight to White's camp. She wasn't just coaching the Fever, she was being compensated to make sure the rookie superstar didn't dominate the narrative. Every time White pulled Clark after a hot start, those bonus triggers got closer. The benching order was the tool that kept the checks clearing. But what the cameras missed in those early games tells the real story. During one particularly brutal stretch, Clark dropped 25 points and 10 assists in limited action, only to be benched for the entire fourth quarter while the Fever blew a double-digit lead. The leaked order specifically instructed coaches to reset offensive flow without primary ball handler whenever Clark's usage rate climbed above 30%. That reset always meant handing the keys to players who turned the ball over or settled for contested mid-rangers. Clark sat there on the bench, towel over her head, watching her teammates struggle with the very system that was built to sideline her. Teammates later admitted in private conversations that the tension in the huddle was thick enough to cut with a knife. White's voice would sharpen whenever Clark tried to speak up about adjustments. The message was loud and clear: stay in your lane, rookie. The suppression didn't stop at game minutes. Practice sessions became battlegrounds of deliberate disrespect. According to multiple sources inside the organization, White ran closed-door drills where Clark was matched against multiple defenders while veterans received single coverage. The benching order extended off the court with specific instructions on how many reps Clark could take in shoot-around and how her feedback was to be ignored in film study. One leaked email chain even directed assistant coaches to redirect offensive creativity away from Clark's vision and instead emphasize team concepts proven by veteran leadership. Clark would come off the court dripping sweat after dominating scrimmages, only to hear White praise a veteran for executing the system correctly while barely acknowledging the rookie's 30-point explosion in the same session. This was psychological warfare disguised as professional development. Stats don't lie, and the numbers from that season paint a damning picture of sabotage. Caitlin Clark averaged fewer minutes per game than any other high-usage rookie in recent WNBA history, despite leading the league in multiple advanced categories when she was actually on the floor. Her assist rate skyrocketed in the limited time she played, yet White's system consistently capped her touches. Compare that to other first-year guards who were given the green light to run the show. Clark was held to under 28 minutes a night on average, while putting up efficiency numbers that would have shattered records with normal playing time. The benching order ensured that every time she started to break out, the plug was pulled. Opposing coaches even commented off the record that they could see the hesitation in Clark's game, like she was playing with one hand tied behind her back. That hesitation wasn't natural. It was coached into her by design. Locker room witnesses refused to stay silent forever. Several players described the exact moment they knew something was deeply wrong. After a road win where Clark had been benched in the closing minutes, despite being the only one creating offense, one veteran pulled a teammate aside and whispered that White had been told from above to keep the rookie in check. The fear was real. Nobody wanted to be the next one labeled as a troublemaker, especially when White controlled playing time like a weapon. The leaked documents included a separate attachment listing attitude adjustment protocols for any player who pushed back against the benching strategy. Clark herself stayed professional in public, but those close to her saw the frustration building. She poured everything into every limited shift, only to be rewarded with another trip to the bench while the team's offense stagnated. The conspiracy runs deeper than just one coach and one team. Stephanie White wasn't acting alone. The WNBA front office had been sweating Clark's popularity since the draft lottery. Her college highlights were breaking the internet. Her jersey sales were exploding, and suddenly the league's carefully curated image of veteran dominance was under threat. Leaked communications between league executives and team personnel showed discussions about managing the Clark phenomenon to prevent her from disrupting established market balances. Stephanie White became the perfect enforcer on the ground. Her benching order was the on-court execution of that larger plan. Every minute Clark sat was another minute the league could pretend she was just another rookie adjusting to the pros, instead of the generational talent she clearly was. The paid incentives flowed through back channels, keeping White motivated and the rest of the coaching staff compliant. Hidden audio from a closed practice captures the tone perfectly. White's voice cuts through the gym as she barks at assistants to tighten the rotation and pull the trigger on the reset the second Clark starts to cook. You can hear the urgency in her commands, the way she overrides any suggestion to let the hot hand stay in. That audio, now circulating among insiders, confirms what the benching order already spelled out in black and white. This wasn't about developing young talent. This was about protecting something bigger, something that felt threatened by a 22-year-old guard who could see the floor like a veteran and shoot it like a sniper. Teammates who overheard similar exchanges in the film room described White as visibly agitated whenever Clark's name came up in positive scouting reports. The suppression was personal as much as it was professional. As the season wore on, the cracks in the fever started to show. Losses piled up in games where Clark had been limited, and the fan base began to notice the pattern. Social media exploded with clips of her sitting while the team struggled, but the official narrative stayed locked on rookie adjustment period. Inside the organization, the truth was much darker. The benching order had created a toxic divide between the young talent and the veterans who benefited from the extra minutes. Some veterans started to feel guilty, but the fear of losing their own roles kept them quiet. White doubled down, calling extra meetings to reinforce the team first mantra that really meant Clark last. The leaked documents even included projected stat lines for Clark under the restricted system, numbers that were suspiciously low compared to her actual potential. White was engineering failure for the brightest star in the league, and she was getting rewarded for it. The evidence keeps stacking up. Independent analysts who obtained portions of the benching order ran the numbers through advanced models and concluded that Clark's projected impact with normal minutes would have transformed the Fever into playoff contenders overnight. Instead, the team hovered around mediocrity while White collected her bonuses and maintained her image as a steady hand. Former players who crossed paths with her in previous stops started to speak up anonymously, describing similar patterns of favoritism towards veterans and skepticism towards high draft rookies who challenged the status quo. Clark wasn't the first, but she was by far the most visible, and that visibility made the suppression campaign even more aggressive. The league couldn't afford to let one player rewrite the script, so they found a coach willing to do the dirty work. What happened in those closed-door sessions after blowout losses reveals the true character of the operation. White would gather the staff and review footage frame by frame, not to improve the team, but to find new ways to justify pulling Clark earlier in the next game. Notes from those meetings, now part of the leaked files, show phrases like excessive hero ball and disruptive pace circled in red whenever Clark drove to the basket or pushed the tempo. The benching order was updated mid-season with even stricter language after Clark had a string of strong performances. It was as if every success she had triggered a stronger response from the coaching staff. This cat-and-mouse game drained the energy from the entire roster. Players who wanted to ride with Clark's vision found themselves benched too if they spoke up. The suppression created a ripple effect that hurt everyone except the coach cashing the extra checks. Caitlin Clark kept showing up, kept working, kept shining in the moments she was given. Her poise under the constant limitation only made the sabotage more obvious to those paying attention. She never threw her coach under the bus in interviews, but her body language on the bench said everything. The way she cheered for teammates while clearly biting her tongue told the real story. Meanwhile, Stephanie White continued to spin the narrative in press conferences, talking about building culture and long-term development, while the leaked documents exposed the opposite. The benching order was the proof that culture was being built on the backs of sacrificed talent. Clark's development was being sacrificed so that White could maintain control and collect on the deals made behind closed doors. The broader league war against Clark's rise became impossible to ignore as the season progressed. Other coaches around the WNBA started adopting similar minute restrictions when facing the Fever, almost as if the word had gone out from the top. Stephanie White's playbook spread like a virus because it served the interests of those who feared the new wave. Clark's global appeal was bringing in fans who had never watched women's basketball before, and that shift threatened the old guard. The paid suppression wasn't just about one team. It was about preserving an ecosystem where veterans ruled and rookies knew their place. White became the face of that resistance, the coach who was willing to bench the future for the sake of the past. Her actions sent a message to every young player coming into the league: shine too bright, and we will dim you. Insiders close to the situation confirmed that the financial incentives didn't stop with White. There were whispers of performance-based payouts linked to league-wide metrics that rewarded teams for managing superstar hype. Clark's hype was the ultimate threat, so the mechanisms to contain it were put in place early. The benching order was the most visible part of that mechanism, but the real damage happened in the subtleties: the ignored suggestions in huddles, the film sessions that focused on her mistakes while downplaying her brilliance, the practice plans that left her exhausted before games even started. Every layer was designed to wear her down mentally and physically. Yet, Clark kept producing. That resilience only fueled the villain's determination to break her spirit. As more pieces of the leaked files surface, the picture becomes crystal clear. Stephanie White wasn't a coach trying to win games. She was an enforcer carrying out orders from higher up, motivated by personal gain and protected by the league's desire to control the narrative. The benching order stands as the undeniable artifact of that corruption. It lists the restrictions in cold, clinical language, turning a superstar's potential into a line item to be managed. Clark's talent was too big to hide completely, but the damage done to her early career trajectory and to the team's chemistry will linger for years. The fans who watched in frustration knew something was off. Now the documents confirm it. Stephanie White built her reputation on professionalism and steadiness, but the leaked benching order rips that mask away. She chose the path of suppression over celebration. She chose bonuses over building a winner around the most exciting player in the sport. She chose to stand with the old guard instead of embracing the future. In doing so, she didn't just hurt Caitlin Clark, she hurt the entire WNBA by trying to slow down the very force that could have taken it to new heights. The truth is out now, and no amount of spin can put it back in the box. The architect architected her own downfall the moment she signed off on that benching order. Stephanie White thought she could bury Caitlin Clark for a paycheck and a pat on the back from the league office. Instead, she exposed herself as the ultimate locker room cancer, the paid suppressor who prioritized control over competition. Caitlin Clark remains the bright future of this league, still rising despite every obstacle thrown in her path. The benching order may have slowed her for a season, but it could never stop her. And now the whole world sees exactly who stood in the way. The game is changing, and the old tactics are dying in the light of the truth. Stephanie White's legacy isn't one of leadership, it's one of betrayal, and that stain will never wash off the hardwood.